Oi pessoal, tudo bem? Aqui é a Luciana da Street Smart Brazil. Today you will learn the numbers in Portuguese, but not just learn the numbers. You will get all the details you need to use the numbers correctly in any situation in Brazil. For instance, can you break years into groups and say, for example, 1981? Is it 21 or 20 and 1? Do numbers have a feminine version? At the end of this lesson, you will be able to use the numbers with confidence in Portuguese in any situation. So let's look at numbers 0 to 19. In Portuguese, we spell 0 the same way as we do in English, but we say zero, zero. This is a kind of a funny sound, right? We do not close our lips when we pronounce that M. And numbers that end in 1 and 2 have a feminine version, so we also have uma. For example, if I'm talking about a car, which is a masculine noun, carro. If I'm talking about a house, which is a feminine noun, uma casa. Dois, duas. Same thing here. I can say dois carros, duas casas. Três. This word and every word that ends in ES or even EZ, we have different pronunciations in Brazil. I say três as if there is an I after the E, but in some places in Brazil, people will pronounce it três. Very clear without that I in there. Quatro, quatro. Cinco, cinco. Seis, seis. Are you repeating after me? I'm pronouncing it twice. I would like you to repeat at least the second time. You have to say it out loud to really learn it. Sete, sete. Oito, oito. Nove, nove. Dez. So again, like I said, words that end in EZ, the way I pronounce it as if there is an I after the E. Dez. But it's not the only way to say it. Onze, onze. Doze, doze. Treze, treze. We have two spellings for 14. They're both correct. The pronunciation is the same. 14, 14. Quinze, quinze. 16, 16. And some people will pronounce 16. It's fine. Same thing here. 17, 17. 18, 18. 19, 19. So the pronunciation of that DE varies in different parts of Brazil, and that's fine. Okay, now from here on, from 20 to 99, we have a little more rhythm and repetition. Numbers are funny. When I need to say in English a phone number that I have learned in Portuguese, like my mom's number in Brazil, for instance, I have to think about it. I look like this dog searching for the numbers in my head. And vice versa, if I need to say my husband's phone number in Portuguese, I need to translate it in my head. It's kind of funny. 20, 20. Now look at the prepositions, 21. And like I said, numbers that end in 1 can have a feminine version. That would be 21. So in Portuguese, we say 20 and 1. 22, 22. Let me give you a pronunciation tip here. Because 20 ends in E, and then you have the preposition E, we can put those together in a longer E. So I could say 23, but I usually say 23. 24. 24, 25, 25, 26, 26, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29, 29, 30, 30. Now we go into a pattern, so I'm not going to show you all the numbers, but I'll show you enough numbers so you understand the pattern. 31 or 31, 32, 32, 33, etc. And then you have 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 70, 80, 80, 90, 90, 99, 99. Great, so now let's keep going 100 to 999, and you can totally master the numbers with this Portuguese lesson. If this lesson is useful to you, please support me. Subscribe to the channel, share my lesson with friends who are learning Portuguese. Muito obrigada. 100 is 100. We do not close our lips when the words end in M. Cem. You only say cem when it's 100, the round number. It could be 100,000, 100 million, it will be cem. I will show you. But the moment it is not 100 round number, it becomes different. It is cento. So here we have 101. 101. Again, notice the prepositions, right? You need it. Yes, people will understand you if you just say 101, but it sounds really wrong to us. Well, now from here, it gets into a pattern. So I will not show you all the numbers, I will show you enough to make the pattern apparent. 102, 103, 115, 120, and so on and so forth. Now look at the many prepositions we have here. 121. Then you get all the way up to 199, 200. Now this one also have a feminine, 200. The hundreds from 200 to 900 will have a feminine version. So I'll give you just a few examples. 201, 210, 220, 222, and so on and so forth. 300 or 300, 400, 400, 500, 500, 600, 600, 700, 700, 800, 800, 900, 900. Then you get to 999, which has to be a lucky number. And then we get to the thousands, and we're gonna go all the way to the millions. Here's another funny thing about numbers. I simply cannot do math in my head in English, period. For these numbers, I want to show you that we use the period to group digits. In the US, we use a comma, and we use a comma in Brazil for the decimal separation, for the cents, for instance, in a price. In the US, it is exactly the opposite. On the blog post for this lesson, I give you examples with prices, so you see how we use the cents. So the link to the blog post is in the video description. Okay, 1,000. Mil. Now you have to look at the pronunciation of the L when it's the last letter of the word. So listen to me, I do not roll that L. Mil. From here on, we can truly be thankful for patterns to make our lives easier. But I still have many details about the numbers to share with you. So here the pattern is very clear, right? I have 1001, 1010, 1021. And so on and so forth. From 1100 on, there is a change in the pattern. It has to do with the preposition e. In round numbers, like we have here 1100, it could be 1200, 1300, you have the preposition just as you did before. So here we have 1100, 1200, 1300. But you lose that e, the preposition e, when the number is not round in the hundreds. So for instance, 1101, 1101. So notice that there is no preposition between 1000 and 100. But there is a preposition between 100 and 1, right? So again, 1101, 1954. 1999. As the book Ponto de Encontro puts it, you use e between all elements of compound numbers except between thousands and hundreds when hundreds are followed by tens or units. So here's another example. 2.235. Then you get all the way to 100,000. Notice when we have 100 and when we have cento. This one is 100,000 because 100 round is there in the number. I still have 100 rounds, so 100,001. Now it's different. 101,000, 200,000, and 200,000. And then we go, so on and so forth until you get to 999,000. Again, 999,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000. So just as I showed you with the thousands, when we lose the e between thousands and hundreds, when the hundreds are followed by tens or units, it will happen with the millions as well. And I know it sounds so confusing, but just let me show you. 1,000,000 e 100.000. So here the thousands, meaning 100,000, does not have units to it. So I use the e, 1.100.000. But now the thousands, this part of the number 120,000 has units, the 20. So now we lose the e between the million and the thousands. 1.120.000. Once you get this, it goes into autopilot and you will just flow with it. 2 milhões. Now the millions do not have a feminine version. So there is not 2 milhões. It's always 2 milhões. 2 milhões e 100. 2 milhões 127. So I wanted to give you another example with 100 and 100 to get you more practice with it. Okay, so now you want to be a billionaire. So let's talk about billions and trillions. 1 bilhão. 1 bilhão, a billion. And a trillion, 1 trilhão. 1 trilhão. 1 quatrilhão. 1 quatrilhão. From here on, the numbers are less commonly used, so the vocabulary is less needed, and therefore I left it out of this video, otherwise the video is too long. But I have the numbers in the blog post for this lesson, and the link to the blog post is in the video description. Now, how do you say a millionaire, a billionaire in Portuguese? A millionaire is milionário, or a woman is uma milionária. A billionaire, bilionário, uma bilionária. Trillionaire, trilionário, uma trilionária. And again, I'm not going to show you all the numbers, but they are in the blog post. Okay, now very important. Can you break the numbers into groups in Brazil, as we do here in the US when we say 1999? The short answer is no in almost any situation, except for phone numbers. So if you tell a friend in Brazil that you were born in 1980, they will find it very strange. We do not break numbers like that in Brazil. We say the whole number, so you were born in 1980. This is true also for addresses. You need to say the entire number, so giving your street number as 580 will not sound natural in Brazil. Instead, you should say 580. And this is also true for prices. It is true in general, except for phone numbers. So let's look at how we say phone numbers in Brazil, because this can be really handy, right? The first thing you need to know about phone numbers is that we usually say meia for 6. And if you're wondering, hey, I thought meia means sock. Yes, it does. But also, meia means half. And here what we mean is half a dozen. Meia dúzia. And the reason we say meia instead of seis is that it prevents people from mishearing três or 3. We break phone numbers into groups in Brazil, and there are different ways in which you can do this. For example, this number here, I could say digit by digit. 999 meia, remember the meia? 67 2014. I could also say 999 67 2014. And I could say 99967 2014. Now here's something interesting. Mobile numbers in Brazil used to have 8 digits grouped in 2 groups of 4 digits. So this number here wouldn't have the first 9. Then in 2012, Brazilian mobile numbers started to gain a 9th digit. And that was that number 9 that was added in front of the original phone number. And this was done to increase the availability of numbers on mobile telephony in Brazil. So because this extra 9 was added to our original phone number, the number we already had, we tend to say that first 9 individually and kind of give a little pause before we continue. So I usually say this number 99967. As I mentioned before, the numbers 1 and 2 and the numbers that end in 1 and 2 have a feminine form. So for example, 72 books, 72 livros, 72 classes, 72 aulas. I also showed you that the hundreds from 200 and 900 also have a feminine version. So, eu tenho 200 tarefas para concluir hoje. I have 200 tasks to complete today. Again, eu tenho 200 tarefas para concluir hoje. Here's another example. 342 people signed the petition. 342 pessoas assinaram a petição. 342 pessoas assinaram a petição. The thousands also have a feminine version. 2,000 people took part in the Peace March. 2.000 pessoas participaram da passeata pela paz. 2.000 pessoas participaram da passeata pela paz. Now, the numbers in the millions do not have a feminine version. 2 million people took part in the protest. 2 milhões de pessoas participaram do protesto. 2 milhões de pessoas participaram do protesto. And finally, let's talk about the preposition G with numbers. I showed you a lot of examples, and I don't know if you noticed, but there was no G in most of them. We said 72 livros, 200 tarefas, 342 pessoas. But when we get to the millions, we need to use the G. So 2 million people, 2 milhões de pessoas. That's it. Now you can use the numbers in any situation in Brazil. We offer Portuguese lessons via video meetings, and most of our lessons are one-on-one because it really is the best way to learn. You get to learn at your own pace. You enjoy a lot more practice because it's all about you during the lesson, and you have more control over your schedule. Visit us at streetsmartbrazil.com. You can look at the testimonials. We have a wonderful testimonials page, and you can book a trial lesson with us. Muito obrigada once again for watching this video. Tchau, tchau.